So there's been a lot of misinformation out there in regards to the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club going to meet this Venezuela gang in Colorado, take them out, whatever else people have said. And I personally think a lot of the confusion came from a video. I haven't been able to verify it. I don't even know who the guy is. I've talked with a few people and no one can really give me any information, but apparently people are saying this is an alleged Hells Angel member warning these Venezuelan gang members in Colorado.
In fact, other chapters from around the country have already issued a public warning to this Venezuelan gang if they don't stop, cease and desist, like immediately.
Let this be a lesson to the gang members in Aurora, Colorado. Please heed my warning. I did 10 years in the joint in the state of Kentucky. I'm telling you right now, the people that are coming, known as the Hells Angels, are not to be fucked with. You are getting ready to have a large swarm of men who are like-minded, brotherhood-driven, and will not govern themselves by the laws in which that you think that they will. You are getting ready to have wars that you have never experienced in your life. And people that live on a certain side of the law may be perceived as whatever, but I promise you this, we know that you're taking advantage of defenseless people. You will be the ones calling the law, because you do not want men like me and the people that we associate with to descend upon you, because we will not care about evidence, we will not care about any of that shit. There will be guns, there will be knives, and there will be no more time for questions.
I don't know what his affiliation is with the Hells Angels, but I will say it does seem a little bit out of character. These motorcycle clubs are pretty damn secretive, and they're not going to just go out into the open, especially in front of a camera, and let you know their plans. But I think the question has to be asked, why are so many people reliant on the possibility of the Hells Angels going in and taking out this gang in Colorado? Why is that something that pumps people up instead of taking it on themselves? Okay, I live in this neighborhood. My mom lives in that apartment complex. If the police aren't going to address it, well, maybe we should handle it. Now, handle it can mean several different things, and I'm not going to go into detail as far as what I mean by that for obvious reasons, but it's no one's responsibility for anybody's safety except for themselves. We don't need the government. The Hells Angels, for sure, don't want to deal with this.
In a post on Instagram, the Rocky Mountain Hells Angels charter says it denies the claims, adding the club does not involve itself in political issues outside of motorcycling and takes no stance on the issue of immigration or the presidential election.
Why is it on the Hells Angels to help some random ass people? What benefit do they get out of doing that? People who don't know about motorcycle clubs already think they're bad people, already tell them they're not welcome in restaurants, bars. Why do they need to help normal society just because there's a problem and people can't handle it themselves? It doesn't make that much sense. Now, if they did decide to do something or they felt compelled to, that shouldn't be any different than a normal person going and handling an issue at a place where they live. If a dude is walking around in your apartment complex, breaking into apartments and taking it over, are you sitting there saying, I hope a motorcycle club comes in here and takes care of them. I hope somebody who isn't afraid of these guys comes in and takes care of them. No, you're probably going to address it if the cops don't show up. It's your family. It's where you live. It's your safety. But this kind of brings me into my next segment. This Venezuela gang, they are pretty unchained. Apparently they go by the name of Tren de Agua. And from what sources say, they have about 1,000 dudes in America, ranging from West Coast to East Coast. They just robbed a jewelry store in Denver.
Officials are on high alert as a notoriously violent prison gang is spreading from coast to coast. Tren de Aragua, or TDA, was born out of Venezuela in a prison and has been linked to crime like this jewelry store heist in Colorado. News Nation obtaining a memo warning law enforcement that an estimated 1,000 TDA members have been given the green light to attack officers. News Nation's Alicia Nieves joins us now live from New York, where these gang members have actually shot at police. Alicia, how widespread is this gang?
Yeah, Anna, good morning. This is a violent Venezuelan gang. It's infiltrated U.S. cities across the country from coast to coast, becoming more brazen and organized, according to authorities. In just the last 2 months, we have had at least 3 major incidents on the West Coast and here back on the East Coast. Just this past week, as a matter of fact, authorities have linked a member of Tren de Aragua's gang members to a violent June jewelry heist in Denver. In nearby Aurora, Colorado, the gang is accused of taking control of a local apartment complex, using it as headquarters of their operation.
So I don't know, for me, I think the question becomes, what do we do about it? I can say if you're not carrying a gun, if it isn't with you at all times pretty much, I think your chances of getting into something have increased, especially with how many illegals have been let into America, because we just don't know if they're a criminal, if they're a person who wants to hurt you, rob you, whatever. And it's not all of them, but I don't know how we tell. I don't know how you tell if it's somebody who's just looking to make a good living, an honest living, or if it's someone who's trying to screw you. Now, here's what I'll say. If you do get into a situation with one of these people, how do you think it's gonna go? At least as far as the court system. Well, if they're just letting these people into the country, I'd say that's being pretty generous. I would say if you end up shooting one of these people in self-defense, they're probably gonna be pretty generous with them as well and charge you. And it's one of the reasons why I recommend attorneys on retainer to everyone. Now, here's the difference between attorneys on retainer and these other insurance companies. Attorneys on retainer doesn't care if you're charged with a crime. They don't care if it was a criminal act. They don't care if it was an illegal gun. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is that you honestly attempted to act in self-defense. Here's what they do for you. They cover everything as soon as you're in a self-defense incident. You call in, you speak with a lawyer, you have attorney-client privilege, so they can't use that conversation against you in court. They cover your bail hearing, your bail, any deals up and until the trial. If there's no deal, your trial. And if for some reason you lose or you take a plea deal, they don't have anything in their contract where it states that you have to pay all their money back, like some of these other insurance companies do. They have a great track record. Mark J. Victor, he's a Marine, been practicing law for the past 3 decades. It's already extremely affordable, but we're giving you $50 off your individual sign up. There's gonna be a link and code below the video. To me, this is probably one of the most important things that I pay for in my life, because your freedom is priceless.